Welcome to the Maine Basketball Rankings podcast. I'm your host, basketball data nerd Lucas McNelly. The gold ball games are here for football, which means, of course, we are one step closer to basketball. Actually, we're more than one step closer to basketball because basketball has already started. So let's start with that. There are tip-off games and tip-off tournaments going on all weekend. I saw one. Erskine has one, and Gorham has one. Wiscasset has one. A bunch of teams have them all over the state. So if you are jonesing for basketball, if you are just too excited to see your local teams play, somebody near you has got games this weekend. Some teams even, I hope you're sitting down for this, are playing on Sunday. It's just pure insanity. The world is coming to an end. Think of the children, all of those things. But we have actual basketball games that they don't count, but they're actual basketball games between actual teams, and it's going to be fantastic. But having said that, we still have some football games to take care of here. So I had a guest lined up, and they were supposed to be here with me right now to preview these games, but that seems like it has not worked out. And since I've already set up all the equipment and I've been sitting here for 15 minutes waiting and looking at my notes, I'm just going to do it myself, and we're going to do it live, Bill O'Reilly style. This could be a train wreck. But whatever, man. It is what it is. All right, so let's go through these four gold ball games. Up first, in Class A, we have Thornton Academy and Portland. This is the one game where these teams have already played this season. Portland beat Thornton Academy 14-7, which was a surprise, I think, to a number of people. That was going to be one of the things I was going to ask my guests because I believe they were there. Whatever. So let's just take a look at them. Thornton Academy is number one in the power rankings. They're 7-2. They average 39.7 points a game. They give up 13.5. Portland is also 7-2. Both of these teams lost to an out-of-state team. Portland got blown out by Exeter. Thornton Academy got blown out by something that starts with a B. It's late. I've been up for a very long time. Anyway, Portland averages 36 points a game. That's 11th in the state. And they give up 12.6. That is 8th in the state. Let me look up really quick Thornton Academy's scoring rank. It's just refreshed on me. Their scoring rank is 9th with 39.7. And I'm wondering how many of those teams above them are 8-man teams. Probably most of them. Okay, so yeah, Thornton's number one, Portland's number two. This is a thing that people struggle with, especially when there's not a lot of games, that why is Thornton Academy ranked higher than Portland? Portland beat them. It's because this is not the AP poll filled out by an assistant coach or the assistant to the athletic director or something. There's actual math here. And it's not just well, they beat them, so I guess they got to be higher than them. I don't know what to tell you. No, because you know what? This is like a spoiler thing for you for life. Sometimes the best team doesn't win the game. It's a crazy concept. You know, you wouldn't rank the who beat the Celtics the other day? Some trash team that beat the Celtics the other day. You wouldn't rank them above the Celtics because they happen to beat the Celtics once. You wouldn't rank everybody in the NBA above the 76ers because the 76ers can't beat anybody. Okay, maybe you would. Bad example, also great example. And I'm just going to put this out there. What happens if the Sixers get the number one pick? I'm just saying it could happen. It's not outside of the realm of possibility at this point. They currently are in line for the number one pick. It is not going great. Sports Illustrated has this game. So Sports Illustrated has been tagging me in a bunch of stuff on Twitter. They're running all these articles and they're ranking teams. Their rankings are not great. Let me find them. Okay, I'm not going to be able to find this easily. Anyway, there's way too many tabs open. And the key thing on their rankings is they have Falmouth 8th in the state, and they have them below Deering, which I think we can all agree is not great. So anyway, so I don't know where they're getting their information. It seems to be one guy who's covering half of the country. But they have predictions for these games. So let's go with it. Let's see what they got. They have for this game, they have Portland 35-34, which even if you just looked at the first game, 14-7, and go, oh yeah, you know what? The next game, 35-34. I think that's a great plan. The model disagrees. It has Thornton Academy 66% to win this game. They are favored by 13.6, and I believe I saw on Twitter today that they are in their 6th straight state championship game, that's something of a streak, even if you're only got 6 or 8 teams in a region and there's not a ton of playoff games. But 6 straight state championship games is very impressive. Moving on, I'm hearing myself in this, and this is a little unhinged, this podcast. It sounds like I'm drunk, and I want to ensure you that I am not, but after this I might be. It's been a long day. It is currently 10:42 at night, and I've been up since 6 something. So, and it's my Thursday is work, whatever. Anyway, let's move on to Class B, Falmouth and Kennebunk. Falmouth, number 1 defense in the state, 6.8 points a game. They are undefeated. Kennebunk also undefeated, 7th overall in offense at 40 points a game. So this is the classic. Can the good defense stop the good offense? It's tale as old as time. It's the easiest narrative in the book, but hey, it's the easiest narrative in the book for a reason. They have one opponent in common, these two teams do, and that is Cheverus. Falmouth beat Cheverus, I believe, opening weekend, 14-0. Kennebunk beat them later in the season, 42-10. Those are both convincing wins. Kennebunk's is more convincing. If you want to make the argument that Falmouth was in week 1 with a brand new head coach and the whole turmoil that we've covered in depth and that I think we're all aware of, if you want to argue that, they were probably off to a slow start, considering all of that, I think that's a pretty solid argument. So I would throw out the opponent in common. I don't think that tells us anything other than these teams could be very closely matched. Sports Illustrated has Kennebunk. This is the one I think is the funniest. Has Kennebunk winning 32-28. I'm not sure Falmouth is going to give up 32 points. They've given up 14 points in a game. That's their high water mark. There's a lot of zeros on that ledger for them. They're giving up less than a touchdown a game. 32 points is asking a lot out of Kennebunk, even though Kennebunk does have that prolific offense. Let's talk about Kennebunk a little bit. They have one of the most surprising results of the year, for my money, when they beat Deering 41-0 earlier this year, and then they backed that up with a regional final win, which was considerably closer. I don't have it in front of me, but it was considerably closer against Deering. Still, Deering was very high in the rankings at that time, and to beat a team ranked higher than you is always impressive. To beat them 41-0 is very impressive. The model has this as Falmouth at 63.5%. To win it, that grades out to 11.2 points on the spread. That feels high to me. I think the the percentage I feel very comfortable with. That feels right. I don't know how well I have yet dialed in the point spreads for football. It's a little trickier than basketball. There's some more factors, and I think it's getting better. I'm not sure 11.2 makes a lot of sense. So if you want to take the points there, take Kennebunk in the points, then I'm not going to blame you. Moving on. Class C, Freiburg and Herman. Backing up on the Falmouth, Kennebunk. Falmouth is 3rd in the state. Kennebunk is 5th in the power rankings. Freiburg and Herman. Freiburg is 9th in the state. They went 6-2 on the regular season. Herman is 13th. They also went 6-2 on the regular season. Herman just beat Medomik in the regional final. Very impressive regional final win for them, where they built up an 18-point lead. Medomik scored 14 points in what felt like 30 seconds. And then Herman, with the momentum completely gone, managed to roll off a 9.5-minute drive to basically put the game away. Really very impressive. I bring this up, I mentioned it on the last podcast, but I bring it up to say that I've seen them twice, and I don't think I've seen them really make a mistake in the fourth quarter in either game. And I mean, obviously they made some mistakes, I'm sure, but nothing glaring that I can remember in either fourth quarter. So if this game is close, I think you start thinking that this is that Herman can get this. There's a lot of the narrative around it is the C North final was, that's the real championship. Good luck next week, guys, with Freiburg. But if Herman can keep it close, I don't see a reason why they can't win this game. Having said that, I have not seen Freiburg. Freiburg is going for their first gold ball since 1965, which, wow. First of all, how many, to have football for that long? In 1965, their last gold ball. They are, like I said, they're 9th in the state. They are at 9.8 points allowed a game. I think that says 4 for 4th in the state, if I'm reading my handwriting correctly. Points scored, 35.6. That's 13th. Herman is 11th in the state in scoring defense at 13.9 points a game. They score 26.6, which is 32nd. The Sports Illustrated has Freiburg winning this one 16-12. That, okay. The model actually agrees with that, which means they will both be wrong. It's the only thing, I think that's one of the truest things is when everyone agrees on something, it's definitely going to be wrong. So the model has this Freiburg 56% to win it, and the line is 4.3 points. All right. Moving on to Class D, Wells and Foxcroft. I did not write down where they are ranked in the state. Let me pull that up. Wells is ranked 6th in the state, and Foxcroft is 12th. So there you go. Wells is 8-0. They are 6th in the state in scoring at 40.2 points a game. They are 3rd in scoring defense at 9.3 points a game. Foxcroft is 20th in the state at 32.2 points a game, and they are 2nd in defense at 7.73. Wells did they wait? No, Wells does Wells have a loss? I'm so very organized. This is where you have a guest and you just bounce off the guest. But if the guest doesn't show up, then what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Let me bring up Wells because I have a question about Wells' schedule. Yes, they are 8-0. They did beat Falmouth. Did they beat Falmouth? Did they play Falmouth? Did they beat Freiburg? Hold on. Very professional. Wells beat Freiburg. Yeah, that's it. Wells beat Freiburg 21-20. Yeah, Freiburg's 2 losses. Okay, I'm reading my handwriting now. Freiburg's 2 losses were to Falmouth and Wells, both by 1 point. Anyway, Wells, of course, had that great comeback last year when they were down 3 touchdowns and everyone thought it was over, and then they rallied to win it. Foxcroft, I've seen Foxcroft twice this year against Oceanside early in the year where they were down 14-0 and then scored 30 unanswered. And then also against Winslow in the regional final. Winslow is actually their opponent in common here. Wells beat them 42-6 in the regular season, and Foxcroft beat them 35-3 in the regular season. And then again in the regional final, where they were tied one play into the third quarter and then just poured it on and put the game out of reach. So the model on this, let's go to Sports Illustrated. They have Wells favored. The pick is 27-21. The model has Wells at 68% to win this, and the line is 13.5. I don't know that this Foxcroft team is as good as previous years. I think that's a consensus, but 13.5 seems a little high. If I had to say either way. So there's your 4 gold ball games. So the model's going with Thornton Academy by 13.6, Falmouth by 11.2, Freiburg by 4.3, and Wells by 13 and a half. Yeah. So a couple other things. I was remiss in not including this last time, in that, not a lot of people, you like to give people credit where credit is due. And so a lot of people had Oceanside in this gold ball game, but you know who didn't have Oceanside in this gold ball game? Rob Kennedy. Let's go to
over in Class C. And
looks like it's going to be a bloodbath.
That's the one. And I'm not sure people are talking about the Herman Hawks. So if I'm going to pick one right now, I'll say Herman. I mean, does that meet the criteria?
I think so. Herman,
because I'm hearing more Oceanside and Madomic Valley being kind of the big two overall in Class C. And I know
that was Herman's region before.
It was, and they're still right there at 4-2. Yeah, I guess to answer your question, that'll be my pick, the Herman Hawks.
You will have pissed off the entire Mid-Coast with this pick.
Well,
the Mid-Coast, I should mention, has now moved on to basketball, as is their divine plan. Basketball is in the air, and we could not be more excited in the Mid-Coast, although it would be nice to be playing today. Although the weather might not be great. So, there's tip-off tournaments to go play. A couple of fun things. I just want to say a couple things here. Renee Klauke, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, is a sports broadcaster up in the county, if you don't know, at WAGM. He announced his retirement of very many years. He's an institution up there, beloved by everyone. He I think, was there for both Caribou runs, the one forever ago and the current one. So he has had a fantastic run, and congratulations on your retirement, Renee. Enjoy it. And if I know anything about these retired sportscasters or broadcasters or journalists, is they just keep ending up at the games anyway. Like we see Mike Lowe every year. Mike Lowe's been retired for 2 years. I think he's still at the tournament. He's still there. They're just, I saw Ken Waltz the other day. I've seen Ken Waltz at more football games this year than I can remember, and he's retired. So I think it's just retirement means that, I'm just going to go to the games that I want to go to. And all right, I can help out. I could pick up a camera. I could do a couple things, but let's go to the big games. You're not getting me to go an hour to Levitt for a, girls game that's going to have a 35-point margin at the end. But okay, I'll go see Camden play Oceanside. Sure. Yeah. So anyway, congratulations on your retirement, Renee. And we all look forward to seeing you at the Bangor Auditorium, at the Cross Center, whatever they call it these days. The not Bangor Auditorium that should be the Bangor Auditorium. Also, if you did not see it, CMCC won the national championship in soccer. Congratulations to them. And so one other thing I wanted to cover, this is a very cool thing. Foxcroft Academy this is the 50th anniversary of their last gold ball, which they won in the 74-75 season over Madomic Valley. So what they're going to do, and please everybody steal this idea. This is such a cool idea. They are going to, I'll just read from their Facebook post. As we celebrate this historic accomplishment, we will relive the road to the gold on social media this winter. Each day there was a game. We will post the recap on Facebook and Instagram like it was the winter of the 74-75 season. For example, if a game was played on December 6th, 1974, we will post it on December 6th, 2024, and so on through the 22-game journey. Starts on Friday, November 22nd with the Penquist League round robin at Foxcroft and ends on February 28th, the night the Ponies won the gold ball. This is so cool. This is going to be so much fun to watch. I wonder, my first thought was, do they have enough photos for this? Because if you've got a lot of photos, this could be so cool. If you've got box scores and actual enough content to really fill this out, it could be so very cool. It's going to be cool no matter what, but just the level of, how much stuff do they have from 74, 75? I don't know. But it's going to be a lot of fun. So follow that. I think more teams should do this. I think everybody should do this whenever they're coming up on an anniversary of something like this. Big fan. Big fan. Yeah. So I had one more thing here. Yep. So if you haven't already, we're trying to get everybody over to Blue Sky because Twitter has become a mess, I think is a polite way to put it. You probably shouldn't open it at work because God knows what's going to happen. You definitely shouldn't open it at school because that's a good way to get detention because who knows what's going to just pop into your feed and is likely not going to be great. And it's been declining ever since what's his name bought it. I know his name. I'm just not going to say it. What's his name bought it, and it's getting worse by the minute. So we're trying to get everybody over at Blue Sky, which has cleared 20 million people now. The NBA writers all seem to be migrating over there. The indie film people have long migrated over there. And I think you're going to see for parents, you remember when MySpace was the thing and then it was dead? Like 6 months later, we might be in that sort of area right now. It looks like Facebook's getting a bump from this. Threads is getting a bump from it, although Threads is not handling it great. And recently said they were going to adjust their algorithm so it's less Twittery, I guess probably the way to do it, and less sending you stuff you don't follow from people you're not following, which is one of the big complaints with Twitter. And on Blue Sky, you can just have your feed be these are the people I follow, and this is the order in which they posted things, which is super helpful for like a news event or games or finding scores. So move over to Blue Sky. I have a starter pack of people you should follow right away. Starter pack's great. You hit one button, you follow like 50 people, like 50 essential people. So come on over. It's great. And yeah, it should be your new destination. You'll love it. So I'm sort of weaning this stuff off of Twitter, moving it to Blue Sky, probably do more on Facebook this year. Because Facebook is doing some things that look kind of interesting. And there's a big Facebook group there. There's a Maine high school basketball Facebook group you can join. It has almost 6,000 people in it. And there's some very random arguments in there. And there's some people who post some weird stuff. But there's a lot of good discussion, and people are predicting Mr. Basketball right now. I think it's going to be Jameer Rose, but it'll be interesting to see who the finalists and semifinalists shake out for that. And yeah, so we're going to start programming note here. We'll finish doing football. We'll probably do a recap of the gold ball games. I'm planning to go down there on Saturday for those and do a recap of football, and then we will turn the page completely to basketball season because it is basketball season. And thank God it's basketball season. And I think that'll do it. This went not as terribly as it could have gone, I think. Yeah. All right. So This has been a production of MaineBasketballRankings.com, your source for the most comprehensive coverage of Maine high school basketball from Ashland to York and everywhere in between. This podcast is available wherever you listen to podcasts and a bunch of places you don't. If you enjoy it, please leave a nice review because it really does help out with algorithms. Tell your friends, tell your enemies. Thanks for listening.